Hey, good to see each and every one of you there. If you are in the Northeast or Central, it's getting cold. It is getting cold, man. It is getting cold. We are in winter. We're getting into the holiday spirit here. In our marketing agency business, what we're seeing is ad spend is taking a lot more money right now because of the holidays and because of the presidential election. So there's a lot of crazy things happening, but that's business. That's business. So today's episode, I'm super excited. We are announcing the registration link to get early bird access pricing to EYSL. EYSL is everything you should have learned in chiro school, but didn't. We are launching EYSL 4.0. We are launching EYSL 4.0. Which means that 3 cohorts have gone through it, which is over 100 people, and they've had unbelievable success. So if you're nervous or you're skeptical, you're not the first one. This is not theory. We've done all over and over. Even better than that, EYSL version 1, version 2, version 3, those were just business courses. They were just business. EYSL 4.0, we added a section. We are doing clinical training too. So if you want to be a rehab chiro but just aren't sure how to treat, how to do an hour session, how to build out a treatment plan, how to make sure you keep someone when and after they are out of pain. If you want to learn from someone like me who has been doing it since 2012, you want to learn from someone like Dr. Jeremy, who is one of the best clinicians that I know. I would send my family to him. You need to be on this course. There's a link in the show notes. I want you to give us your information. If you're a student, if you're a new grad, if you're thinking about opening your practice, you owe it to yourself. At least give yourself a chance. Now, before I get into the episode, one last thing. If you have been in our world before and you've taken EYSL 1, 2, or 3, or if you've taken Biz 101 or no longer in our community, or Mastermind and no longer in our community, and you want to learn clinical skills, we have a special offer and opportunity for you. We are going to allow you access to this course for a highly, highly, highly discounted rate. And so I want you to keep a heads up. There will be an email sent out. We have your information. However, if you're like, I need this, I need to get in this, and you've been in our world before, if you've taken EYSL and you're like, I want to learn clinical skills, send us a DM, send us an email, and we will make sure that you are on that list to ensure that you get the lowest price possible. So you can just take the clinical skills portion of this course. So again, EYSL 4.0. If you're a student, if you're a new grad, if you're an associate that's looking to open up their own practice, you have to be here. I can't tell you enough how excited I am for it. I'll put my name, I'll put my business, I'll put my team, I'll put it all behind it because I believe in it that much. And I think it's going to be, for you, probably the best investment you've ever made, more than the $200,000 you spent in chiro school. And I would bet a lot of money on that, actually. And I'll tell you what, listen, if you take the course and you think it's bullshit, I'll give you your money back. I'll put my money where my mouth is. That's how important this is to me. I want to build a allegiance of rehab chiros, a community of rehab chiros, world-class clinicians, world-class business owners. Go to the show notes, put your info in. I want you to be there. Let's get to the episode. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Business School for the Rehab Chiropractor. Class is officially in session. My name is Justin Rabinowitz, and I am a rehab chiropractor on a mission to teach you, a fellow rehab chiropractor, the exact tools and systems I've used to build my own successful rehab chiropractic practice so you can do the same. I hope you enjoy, and please subscribe. All right, we're live. So this is going to be the Bible. I mean, this is literally going to be how I would walk through taking anybody from zero as a rehab chiro. Whether you're an associate that is leaving to start your own practice, whether you are graduating chiro school, whether you were early in chiro school and just very ambitious and you want to know what happens when I get out of chiropractic school. I'm a rehab chiro and I want to get this business off the ground as fast as humanly possible. And what I'm going to walk you through is the step-by-step approach that I would take. And I'm going to talk about it in 2 different parts because as chiropractors, I think we're unique. As rehab chiros, we're very unique. If we want to be successful, if we want to make a living doing this, we only have a couple options. We have to be world-class clinically, and we have to be world-class business-wise. Ironic or not, that's the creed of our rehab chiro mastermind. World-class business skills, world-class clinical skills. And so, because I teach much about the business side, let me walk you through exactly what I would do step by step If you came to me and you spent a year with me and the only goal was to figure out how I can open up my own practice. Step one. Step one is that we absolutely 100% cannot do anything else until we work on that thing between your ears. If we do not go into business with the right mindset, understanding that it is going to be tough and we are going to have to be uncomfortable and we are going to have to learn things that we're not sure of. And even though we just graduated with our doctorate, we know nothing about business and we have to start over essentially. If we don't understand that going in, we are going to set ourselves up for failure. The number one reason why people fail in my group is because they had wrong expectations. And when it started not to go well, they didn't feel successful. And when they don't feel successful, they stop doing anything. Sometimes that ends in closing their practice. Sometimes that ends in changing their business model. Sometimes that ends with getting out of the profession. And so the first thing that we have to do 100% of the time is fix the thing between your ears. And so we 100% need to help you understand how it's going to be challenging and that you will have to put in more than you think and that you are going to get rejected and it will be uncomfortable. And if I'm repeating myself, it's on purpose because if it's important, you have to say it often. There's nothing that I can help you more with than understanding that. If you have the right mindset going in, if you are humble and hungry and confident, if all of those things are in place, I just do not see how you cannot learn how to market or sell. I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. How? If the thing between your ears works, everything else is easy. You guys as rehab chiros are really freaking smart. The ones that fail are just the ones that can't figure it out between your ears. So step one, we've got to figure out your mindset. We have to figure out your mindset. Step two, all of the rest of your business is basically bullshit if you don't figure out how to get people in the door. If you do not figure out your marketing, you're screwed. And so step two is you have to learn how to get in front of people, give them a message that resonates, find a niche that matters, and then bring them into your world. You can have all the best systems. You can have all the best treatment techniques. You can have an idea of leadership and growth. However, if we don't have people to treat, and we can't figure out how to get them through the door, get them to raise their hand, get them to be interested in your product or service, if we can't do that, you're not going to be successful. And so step two, after we get your mindset right, step two is about figuring out your marketing. Figure out your marketing units. Figure out, do you need to do paid ads, non-paid ads, non-digital, digital, boots on the ground, talks in a gym, in-person reach outs, networking. How does that all look? How do we pick a niche? How do we speak to that niche? If we can do that, we can get people in the door, we got a chance. Because step three is if we've done well with our marketing, if you're a rehab chiro, you're going to charge more money than the insurance person or the guy down the street. They're telling you they're expensive in the area. I'm $85. Holy shit. No, you're not. If you want to be a rehab chiro, spend an hour with people and you want to charge $200 to $300 to $400 per hour and you get a new patient in the door and they raise their hand and your marketing works and you can't sell to that person, you're screwed. And so step three is I have to teach you how to sell. I have to give you a sales framework. I have to teach you how to storytell. I have to teach you how to let a patient know in great detail so that they understand why you're different and why you are expensive and why they still should become your patient. Because I'm sorry, Mrs. Smith, you've tried the cheaper options 1, 2, 3, 5 times. And now when you come to us, you need something different. And so you have to learn sales. So to recap, number one, get your mindset right. Number two, we have to teach you how to market. Number three, we have to implement a sales process. After we learn that, the next thing that I would teach someone that wanted to open up their own practice, I would teach them to build the infrastructure. So imagine that you bought a piece of land and that you're going to build your forever home on it. And the architect comes in day one and he says, I'm going to make this amazing bathroom. We're going to put a pool in the back. The kitchen's going to be incredible. And you say to them, well, talk to me about the foundation. Like, are we sure that this foundation is stable? Because you haven't mentioned that once. And I'm not a home builder or an architect, but I know it's hard to build up on a house if we don't have a solid foundation in the ground, concrete. The foundation of your practice is your pricing structure. I can't tell you how many rehab chiros who have already opened up their practice screw this up, which is why they end up in my world. And so if we know that people screw it up and getting to my world because their pricing structure is off, we need to put the foundation in place. We have to understand what your packages look like, how much you need to make per session, if you have packages paid in full and discounts. If we don't build that infrastructure properly from the start, it's going to be a slog going forward. What will happen is you will get burnt out and you will be broke because you're going to work really hard. You might do the marketing and you might do the sale, but if you have the wrong price and the wrong structure, if you don't have the foundation, that bathroom is going to fall apart. If you don't have the right structure, it doesn't matter what the kitchen looks like because it's going to cave in. And so we must build that infrastructure. And in our business, infrastructure is sales, packages, and price strategy. Once we do that, we fix your mindset, we figure out how to market, we figure out how to sell, we figure out your infrastructure, your pricing strategy. If you become good at those things, it's almost an impossibility that you fail to get off the ground. And what we're talking about 0 to 10 to 15 to 20 to 25,000, where if you're out there and haven't started yet, if you're in school right now in 6th try at Palmer, Florida or Life or wherever you're at, and you want to know how can I actually make a living doing this? Well, that's the answer. Get your mindset right, market, sell, have the right infrastructure. Get your mindset right. Market, sell, infrastructure. Get your pricing right. That's it. If you want to know how to survive, get the business off the ground. Off the ground. Off the ground. That is all that you need. Now, at the next step, which is not the point of this conversation, then we have to start talking about hiring and leadership and comp structures and all of those type of things. But that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about you haven't started yet, or you're off the ground, you're making less than 10,000 and you're not surviving. How do we just get to the point that we can survive? And so if I broke it down, it's quite simple. Mindset, marketing, sales, infrastructure. That's it. That's it. So that's the business side, okay? Now, let's move into the clinical side, because for us, you can't just build a credit card processing company that we just have people swipe credit cards, and I'm sure I'm not giving it the right service, but we're not a widget. We have to be good at our clinical skills, because it's hard to charge a lot of money. It's hard to charge $300 if you have a shit product, if you're not confident in your clinical skills, if you don't know how to diagnose, if you don't know how to walk someone through a treatment plan. And so let's talk about that, because world-class business skills, world-class clinical skills. So if you came into me and were working with me for a year and I wanted to give you the best chance of being successful, got to teach you the business stuff. But then we got to go clinical. We got to go clinical. So the first thing that we would talk about is your assessment. What's the framework of your assessment? What is the purpose of doing your assessment? Remember, in chiro school, the purpose of doing the assessment most of the time was to pass the test. You would do orthopedic tests that's like, I'm doing this because I think it's going to be on boards. It's like, all right, well, how does this help you treat the patient? It doesn't. That's not what we're talking about. That's not what we're talking about. What does a real assessment look like? How do we assess joint range of motion properly that gives us good information? How do we potentially take a SFMA or another movement-based screen, FMS, whatever you guys use? How do we look at macro movements such as squat and hinging and deadlift and toe touch? How do we understand the movements that are painful that we need to address and don't? More than that, if we're dealing with an active population, what sort of capacity tests do we put into place? Because our orthopedic range of motion, our empty can test for a highly active CrossFitter, it might not be relevant because we need some sort of capacity to really see where the train goes off the tracks. And so all of those things, to be able to do that assessment, get that information, and then do the next part, which is how do we actually interpret what we see? Because when you're in school, typically it's like, all right, I'll do a straight leg raise. It's like pass, fail, fail. Okay, that's the end of the conversation. It doesn't matter after that. But what does that tell you if the patient comes in with problems with deadlifting? If they have an asymmetrical straight leg raise? If they have a problem with their deadlift or their squat? And you see in their assessment that they have a asymmetry somewhere, or they have a breathing problem, or they have a core weakness. What do you actually do with that information? What sort of picture can you now paint for the patient to let them know that even though that silly little orthopedic test, like a straight leg raise, might not mean anything to them, this is really the key to unlocking all of the problems that they're having. And so you now have to take that assessment and you be able to translate it. What we call it in our practice and in our mastermind is, how do you connect the dots? How do you take that silly little shoulder internal rotation screen and translate that to the patient who is doing hang cleans and showing them that they cannot access full internal rotation, and therefore their hang clean is going to be limited because you need internal rotation when you're doing that. Once you do your assessment and you do an amazing assessment on them and can connect the dots for them, the next thing you have to do is you have to understand, what am I going to do to select exercises? We are a rehab chiro, so yes, we do adjustments. Yes, we do soft tissue work. But typically, what we love to do is program exercise and rehab exercise. So then the question is, how do we do it? All right, I know you know how to deadlift, but what if that person's not ready? What's one step before and one step before and one step before? When you do a single leg deadlift, how do you know when to load it? How do you know when to shorten the range of motion? What exercise do you select, and how do you know how to do that? When someone is progressing through exercise, how do you know how to challenge it, when to back off? If you think about patients that we get in our office that have failed physical therapy, oftentimes the biggest issue that they have is that there is no progression, is that they get a sheet of exercises and they really just do them for the next 8 weeks. And so I think one of the hallmarks of a high-level rehab chiro clinician is their ability to progress and regress exercise based on pain, based on capacity, based on range of motion limitations. And within that, typically what you see is, it's the lumbar spine or the hip range of motion or the shoulder. Those are always all areas of the body where we see a lot of issues, and you've got to be a savant at being able to progress and regress that. And then after that, when you understand how to do an assessment, when you understand how to connect the dots, when you understand how to do your soft tissue work and your adjustments, and then you can program and progress and regress exercises, how do you put that all into a package? For one session, for multiple sessions, for a treatment plan? More than that, the question that you should be asking yourself is, how in the world do I get a person that gets out of pain in 2 or 3 sessions to continue in my office because they need to be there? How do I explain that to them? How do I put together that program and package for them so that it's unbelievably valuable to them? If you can't put it all together, if you don't know how to walk someone through and tell the story about how we're going to start here, and we're going to start with this exercise, and you might be in pain for a few sessions, and after we can do that, then we're going to progress you to stage 2, and stage 2 looks like this. And once we finish that, then we're going to get you to the real stuff, which is stage 3. So the fact you're out of pain in 3 sessions, Mr. Smith, that's amazing, because now we can really get to the stuff that we need to get to. And so if we did all of that, if we taught you the business, the mindset, the marketing, the sales, the frameworks, and then we taught you the clinical, the assessment, putting it all together, connecting the dots of people, and then selecting exercise. If you could do that, 6 or 7 things, it's an impossibility that you won't have success as a rehab chiro. It's impossible. And so for you guys that are in school right now, that are just wondering, how the heck am I going to make this work? I just told you the answer. Now, the good news for all of you that are listening and are like, man, I wish someone could actually teach me to do all of that. Well, I have a solution for you. You heard it in the intro of the pod, and let me just talk about it again. Myself and Dr. Jeremy Dinkin at RSM Sports Medicine, we are launching EYSL 4.0, and this, without any hyperbole or talking it more than I'm not PT Barnum here, I'm just telling facts, is that EYSL 4.0 is absolutely, without a doubt, going to be the best EYSL that we have ever done. Everything that you should have learned in chiro school. And we are releasing it now. We are releasing the ability for you to register for access to the early bird. If you want to get the early bird pricing to that course, it is in the show notes. It's going to be on my Instagram, but you have to get your name on there to make sure that you get access to the early bird pricing, where you can save over $500 on the course. But let me just take you into it a little bit and tell you how we got here. So I started coaching, business coaching, because what I realized was that there were people out there that were world-class clinicians, probably better clinicians than me, that were practicing and doing rehab. The problem that they had was that they just didn't know how to run a business. And so for me, the rehab chiro coaching business came about because I've had a little bit of success in being able to run a rehab chiro practice and to be able to practice exactly how I want. And then I've been able to figure out how to run the business on the back end. And so we teach it to other people. But the next problem happened is when we started to speak with students. The students that came into our world, specifically that took the student course, that were highly motivated, that wanted to learn business, the next problem we ran into that they sort of told us about was that we want to be a rehab chiro clinician and you've helped us so much teaching us the business side. The problem now is that I just don't know how to do rehab in a way that I feel confident opening up my own practice. I don't know how to progress someone through exercise. I don't know how to regress someone. I don't know how to figure out if they need single or double leg. I don't know what an hour-long session looks like. I'm not sure how to keep someone on the schedule after they get out of pain in 3 sessions. That's why we decided to add this. And so EYSL 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0 have all been business courses. Mindset, marketing, sales, infrastructure. EYSL 4.0 not only has all of that, as every single thing, we've had over 100 people take that course with unbelievable success stories, we're adding to it. So EYSL 4.0, I got even better news for you. Not only are we adding more to it and we're adding more value, we're giving you business and clinical, but we haven't even raised the price. That course typically runs for about $1,500. If you register and get your name on the early bird, you can get it for $997. So you can get it for under $1,000. I would venture to guess, if you spend $1,000 to take that course, the ROI on it could be $1,000, probably more than that. I venture to guess by the time you finish with EYSL, you are going to learn more in those 8 weeks of the course, than you would have learned all in chiro school, both clinically and business-wise. Just to give you a little bit more info on what the course is going to look like this time, it's going to be both live and hybrid. So the business side of this course is going to be hybrid, meaning that you are going to get these lectures sent to you every single week. They are pre-recorded and you can watch them on your own time. So you will have a recorded piece. In addition to that, we are going to teach the clinical side of this. Dr. Jeremy Dinkin will teach the clinical side of this live. It will be taught live. Again, we're starting the course in January, but you have to register. You have to get your name on the early bird now. If you get access to the early bird, the registration to access our early bird link, all you need to do is give us your information. Why wouldn't you give us your information? You don't have to buy anything. You're just going to see if it's right for you. But for us, it just helps us to know who's interested and it allows you to get the biggest discount possible. We are trying to make this as affordable as we can because we know that you're students. We understand that you don't have a way to make money right now, and we respect that. Our regular business coaching course is about 5 times that. It's about $5,000, and you are getting all this for under $1,000. And so if you are a student out there, I think you owe it to yourself minimally to put your name on the list to get more info about it. But maximally, I just can't figure out how for $1,000, for $997, where you are going to get my perspective on it, who is now run a company, multiple companies in the 7 figures, Dr. Jeremy Dinkin, who made $175,000 more than he did the year before, who is running a wildly successful practice, who has made all the mistakes. In addition, that I've made all the mistakes, how you learning from us first clinically and business-wise won't be the best investment you've ever made while you have been in chiropractic. I just can't figure it out. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to the link in the bio, into the show notes. There's a show notes section here. When you go into the show notes, there will be a link to put in your information to get early access to our early bird pricing. Get into those show notes, click the link, give us your information, and we are going to reach out to you once we release the early bird special. I cannot stress to you enough that we are here to help you. We want to build a community of world-class rehab chiros. Luckily for you, you won't be the first ones. We've already figured it out. We've done it already. This isn't theory. We do it. We're in it. We own businesses. We do it every single day. We take time away from our family, from our businesses to be able to help and teach you. And so I can't wait to see all of you there. If you're listening to this and have any hesitation, please just put your name on the list. Give yourself a chance. I can't wait to see you. And I'm so excited for what you're going to learn in this course and the impact it will have on your business, but more importantly, on your life. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And if you found this content valuable, here are 4 ways I can help you for free. 1, grab a copy of my free guide, the Rehab Chiropractor's Checklist. You can get that at go.drjustinrabinowitz.com/guide. That's go.drjustinrabinowitz.com/guide. 2, go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram at Justin Rabinowitz, where I post business content. 3, subscribe to my weekly newsletter by sending me an email at coaching@strivetomove.com. And 4, leave us a 5-star review so we can gain access to more influential people and bring those lessons back to you.